In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast, we do a mental health podcast for the most part. We do some hypnosis too, but today we're going to talk about specific mental illness called personality disorders. Now, there's a wide range of these, and I'm going to tell you what the difference is between that and like typical depression, anxiety, PTSD type things, because there is a big difference. And I'm going to tell you why personality disorders are harder to treat. So stick in there, hang on, we'll be right back.
This sounds like something for the authorities in Detroit.
Well, joke's on you. I'm living to 102 and then dying, like the city of Detroit.
Guys like this antique over here out of Detroit.
Spawned in the hellfires of Motown.
Take him to Detroit.
No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
Stationed in Drambuie. It's worse than Detroit.
We did not have, as a unit, the confidence that we felt like we needed to beat Detroit.
Let's go to Detroit.
Now you're talking, brother.
I don't think so. He plays for Detroit now.
Do they have many farms in Detroit?
Detroit. It's in Michigan.
I go to school. I know where Detroit is.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, my friends? This is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist. We are back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast.
You know, David.
Yes, Matt.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Matt?
Nice to see you.
That is Matt Fox, the other voice you hear. He's hanging out as he usually does.
Yes.
My producer and my drink getter and my
drink getter.
Yeah, I don't
well,
know.
You're
give me a drink if I need to.
Am I your intern?
Yeah, you're my drink bitch.
I mean, all right. We got to be what we got to be.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Kind of did. Sorry.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So we're here in the Palatial Podcast Your Voice, Southfield Studios. We're doing a podcast. It's a Monday evening. It's about 8:20, and we're hanging out. We just finished a Man Cave Happy Hour podcast.
How's your smoke?
If you missed that, go back because we did smoked cocktails tonight.
We did smoked Buffalo Trace straight.
That's true. We were doing smoked whiskey
Yes.
just to so it was all the same, like same level of comparison.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But still, you got a smoked Buffalo Trace in front
I
of you.
do.
And you did pecan?
I did pecan.
All right. So you got a smoked pecan.
I have a smoked
Buffalo
pecan
Trace.
Buffalo Trace. It's fantastic. I'm enjoying it immensely.
I'm drinking
Hopefully
water.
not enough that will end this podcast prematurely, but it's good.
I think you'll be able to keep it up. You're welcome.
Oh, great Odin's Raven.
Sexy time.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So let me tell you, folks, where you can find me,
you?
first
Yeah.
of all. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Check that out. Immediately, if you are a high school, like a parent committee that's in charge of your high school grad night or prom night parties, we're booking quick. I'm serious. It's like the season's coming upon us. We're less than a month away from prom and grad season.
Yeah, you are.
And I kick off the season on April 4th, that weekend at the University of Florida for their dance marathon. I've done this show 4 or 5 times.
Is that the Gators?
It is the Gators.
All right.
Yes. So my buddy Richard Barker, who's another internationally renowned hypnotist, he and I kind of switch back and forth on that show, but I've had that for the last, I'm going to say the last 2 years.
All right.
So I've done the show probably, this will be my 4th time doing that show, which is fantastic. It's a huge show in their basketball arena. It's a fundraiser. It's a dance marathon. But my point being is that these shows are starting up within a month or two. So if you need a hypnotist for your prom night or your grad night, now's the time to do it. Go to the website, motorcityhypnotist.com/shows, and you'll be able to get a quote and sign your contract within minutes.
Awesome.
So check that out. My social media links, Facebook and YouTube, both Motor City Hypnotist. And on Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok, because it is still around apparently, is Motor City Hypno, HYPNO.
Get it while it's hot.
Get it while it's there, because you have no idea. I don't know. Things are changing so quick now. Hard to say.
I wonder what executive order is going to get signed next. Damn. Is it time?
Oh, great Odin's Raven.
Speaking of winner of the week, what are we doing here?
Well, we're not there yet, Matt, but we'll
shit.
get there. You're okay.
All right.
It's okay.
Oh, good for you.
It's the smoke.
So let me tell you also, as we've done every show, going back to number one, and we're on like 290. I think we're on 295.
Are we
right
almost
now.
at 300?
We're almost at 300.
Wow.
We're going to do a special for our 300. So keep an eye out for that in the next few weeks, because
All right.
it should be possibly 2 weeks from now if we stay on our schedule.
All right.
So check that out. We're going to have a 300 episode, some kind of celebration of some type.
All right.
So check that out.
Top 300
as
love
we've
songs.
done every episode going way back, your free hypnosis guide is yours for the taking. Just text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510. Again, that number is 313-800-8510. That will be in the show notes. It will also be on my website. If you forget the number, it's right on the website. That's the main number you can call, you can text, and you can also text that hypnosis to get your free hypnosis guide.
Nice.
And the big thing, wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're on, please subscribe, link, connect, whatever you do on your thing. And the most important thing is leave a review. And I know I can ask this 100 times and maybe 2 times it'll happen, but that really helps us out because it expands our audience. It gets more exposure of the show and more people listen. So that would be greatly appreciated.
You know what? And if you're already a subscriber, tell your friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Say,
Tell your
hey,
friends about it.
You need to listen to these two assholes.
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah. Listen to these idiots because they're important.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Oh, Matt, you didn't get the high end. Matt had a mouthful of whiskey right at that point.
I did.
So,
I did.
yeah, no,
Yes.
yeah, it's crazy.
No! Don't shut me up.
So good.
I know. So it is time, Matt.
Oh, finally. Woohoo! Here we go.
That's how winning is done.
Yes.
So if this is your first time listening to the podcast, this is the point of the show where Dave does his due diligence and finds something that is good in the world.
Yes. And I know for most of us, I will say most of us, because I see it just on my clientele in my clinic. There's a lot of stress and anxiety going around the world right now.
Which executive order is going to get signed next?
So we like to bring you good stories about good things that happen that make you feel good.
Yes,
that's
please.
what this is.
Yes,
it's good.
What are you people?
On dope? No, we're not on dope, but it feels that way when we read these good stories. That's the great thing about it.
Yes.
Right? So this is a great story.
Okay.
A dyslexic Englishman. That's how the story begins.
So it wasn't a man English.
What are you talking about?
Was it a man Englishman?
No. It was a dyslexic Englishman.
Okay.
Who was never properly taught how to read in school, has finally been able to enjoy a copy of a magazine he bought in 1985.
Was it called Emit?
Oh, good for you.
It was called Hooks on Phonics.
Hooking on Phonics.
What in blazes are you talking about?
So anyway, dyslexic Englishman who's never properly taught how to read is able to enjoy a copy of a magazine he bought in 1985. Ted Midgley has learned how to read at 58 years old.
Ooh.
Thanks to the help of a tutor who told the BBC that adults without the ability to read are actually more common in the UK than one might think.
Huh, interesting.
Midgley was born in Bradford, England, where he struggled in school and was dubbed lazy by the teaching staff. It was only when he arrived in middle school that someone reached out to his parents and suggested that Ted might be dyslexic.
That's so 1960s.
But I mean, here's the sad thing about this. He had to get to middle school for somebody to pick this up.
He's 58 now?
He's 58 now.
Shit, that's 1980s.
No, yeah, you're talking way back. Yes. We're
That's
talking
like-
about like late 70s. By middle school would have been the late 70s because I'm a couple years ahead of him. So yeah, it would have been.
See, I'm 50, right?
Okay.
So if you're saying he's 58,
I'm 60, or I will be 60 this year. So he's only a year and a half behind me.
Shit. All right.
So that had to be late 70-ish.
Okay.
Midgley was born in Bradford, England, where he struggled in school, was dubbed lazy by the teaching staff. It was when he arrived in middle school that somebody reached out to his parents. Leaving middle school, he was moved to another institute for those with learning impairments, but struggled and eventually drifted out of the education system altogether to work in a textile mill.
Oh, man.
So really, he dropped out to work
Yeah.
because he couldn't read.
And textiles.
Right. No one reading needs to feel sorry for Midgley, as despite his inability to read, he had a rewarding career as a mechanic for the specialist motorcycles used in a unique British motorsport called Speedway.
Righty, lefty, loosey. You can't get that wrong.
In which the riders compete on a dirt oval track with single gear dirt bikes that have no brakes.
They're making another left turn. You can't get that wrong.
Absolutely. He's gotten to travel around the world for races and as the genesis for his desire to learn how to read. I got involved with a young chap from Australia called Braden Elliott, and it's gone really well, and I want to become his manager. That's what I'd like to do, Midgley told the BBC.
Nice.
But to do that, I need to be able to read emails. He has been taking 2 30-minute lessons a week from Duncan Livesey, a tutor with Read Easy Derby. He's been brilliant, Livesey said, because Ted's so positive. He's been so easy to teach. It's been so rewarding, and I get a buzz each time I sit down with him. As well as reading Elliot's emails, Midgley was able to read something a lot more special, a copy of a Speedway Star magazine he bought 40 years ago.
Can you go back a couple sentences? What does he get when he said he gets a buzz?
Yeah. Because Ted's so positive, he's been so easy to teach. It's been so rewarding. I get a buzz each time I sit down with him.
That's because cannabis is legal.
What are you people? On dope?
No, somebody's just reading. That's it. I'm
Okay,
reading.
Go on.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Clean out your desk. You're gone.
I'm sorry. I'm interjecting a little bit.
No, it's all good. It's reading.
Go on, Mr. Ebert.
So he bought he was able to read a copy of the Speedway Star magazine he bought 40 years ago. So my mind goes right to questions, as we do with these stories oftentimes, Matt.
Okay, so
you know what I'm saying?
It is 2025.
40, where was this magazine for 40 years? That's what I'm wondering.
Under his mattress?
Was it with the porn stuff? I mean,
well, yeah, it's definitely a Playboy. Come on. He's finally able to read what happened on one fateful night.
Sexy time.
It was a night.
Yeah.
Just like tonight.
I had this for so long and I've never been able to read it. It was amazing to do it, he said.
Which pages was he able to read?
No!
Because the rest
Don't shut me up!
the rest were stuck together.
So that's the story, that this guy was unable to read until he was 58. A successful guy, worked as a mechanic for what, 40 years
in motorsports,
something years in motorsports. So,
which is not an easy thing to do, because that is a challenge.
But I will say, and
sport.
And let's get semi-serious for a moment.
Please.
No, don't shut me up.
But I mean, being unable to read is not as uncommon as people think it is.
No, it's not.
It's really, and I have had clients through the years, more than a few over the last 32 years I've been doing this, that couldn't read.
So do you have staff that'll help them through the?
Well, typically what would happen most of the time is that if somebody comes in, they would bring somebody with them, like a wife or a child or a partner or a friend, somebody to kind of help them through that initial paperwork stage.
All right. Fair.
Yeah. So anyway, way to go, Ted Midgley.
Yes.
58 years old. It's never too late. You can, and I've told this story on the podcast before. Maybe even you probably will know it when I say it, Matt, but it's never too late to do something.
No.
My dad was a blue collar worker. Technically, he wasn't blue collar. He started blue collar, but he worked for a steel mill for like 30 something years.
I love the story about your father. Yes.
And he was laid off when he was like 52 years old.
Yep.
And what had nothing to do with performance that I know of, but the whole batch of people, it was an age cutting thing.
Mhm.
And this was back
when they could get away with it.
Back in the early 80s.
Yeah, when they could get away
when
with
they
it.
could get away with it.
Yeah.
And he thought, what have I always wanted to do? I want to be a nurse. He went to nursing school, and that's what he did.
For the next
until he got sick.
25,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, he only lived to 72, but
okay. Right.
he had a degenerative brain disease later in life. But he worked up until that point and loved it.
God bless your father.
He worked ER for a year. So
wow.
So he was. I mean, it wasn't like he just got the job. He did what he wanted to do. So it's never too late. And I guess that's the moral of this story, and definitely why it's winner of the week.
Thank you.
That's how winning is done.
Yes, it is.
So, back to it.
So it might be a little too late, but full disclosure, you and I have had a couple of cocktails already before
We've just a couple, not a lot. I mean,
okay, so
it's
I've been
crazy.
What are you people? On dope?
No,
I've
just
been-
Buffalo Trace.
I've been here in the studio since 4:00 this afternoon.
You guys have been drinking since then.
I had a few welcome cocktails, and here we are. So I'm really.
Did you have any tequila?
No.
Well, so long as we've got some time to kill, I think I'll have a beer.
We don't have no beer, just tequila.
What's tequila?
Yeah, it's like beer.
Is it fattening?
Fattening?
Forget it. If it's like beer, we'll have some. 3 tequilas.
Sure, amigo. Enjoy yourselves.
I was trying not to get into too many troubles.
Come on, 3 amigos.
Too much troubles, okay?
And they do the shot, and all 3 of them at the same time. They all. Anyways, go on.
Alrighty, folks. Today, our subject today is personality disorders, and when I say that, so here's the thing, and I'll just kind of give a very basic kind of overview of why this mental illness is more serious than your typical depression or anxiety or PTSD.
If I start to have a little PTSD, there's a reason why, and you
Yep,
don't need to know.
That's all good.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Go on.
So there is a category of mental illness called personality disorders. And it's a complex combination of different traits and issues and genetics. And in what personality disorders, the way they affect people is how they understand themselves and relate to the world around them. So a lot of times with depression, anxiety, those could be fleeting things. Those could be things that come and go, or they could have lifelong depression. The thing with personality disorders is it's a combination, as I said, of genes and environment. So your parents may pass down certain personality traits to you just through genetics.
You say may, I say will.
That's certainly possible. So let's rephrase it. Your traits can be considered your temperament, if that makes sense.
It does. Just to
Yes.
kind of even the playing field.
Just to kind of simplify.
Yeah.
So the genes come into play. Again, genetically, we inherit things from our parents. Some are good, some are bad. The other factor that goes into it is your environment. That includes your surroundings, events that have happened to you, and relationships and interactions with people as you grow up. So here's the thing with personality disorders. Most serious mental disorders, and when I say serious, I'm talking about bipolar or schizophrenia or psychoses, typically on average occur in the young 20s.
Not adolescents, like
Typically
the
not
teenagers?
adolescents. Now this is a generalization. There are
Okay.
exceptions, of course. It can happen earlier, it can happen later.
Okay.
Most of the time, most major psychiatric disorders are in your 20s. With personality disorders, however,
real quick,
yeah,
you said early in their 20s. Is that when you're trying to figure yourself out in the world?
Yep, a lot of times that contributes to it. You have as far as like career, finishing high school, like your structure is ended, and now you're on your own, so to speak. So that plays into it. It also plays into our episodes that we talked about probably 10, 12 episodes ago. Check that out. Quarter life crisis.
Yes.
And this fits right into that time frame. So you can kind of see why young 20s is a very volatile age for most people.
It's still you're still developing.
You're still developing, but then you have more responsibilities, and you have the responsibilities of job and income and living, and all of those pressures come into play. So a lot of times that is when a lot of your severe psychiatric issues occur, is during that time frame.
Interesting.
So with personality disorders, however, typically they develop since childhood, because personality disorders they become a part of the way you interact with everything. Now, and I'm going to try and make a separation here. Somebody might be depressed when they're a teenager or in their 20s or even in their 50s, but they're battling depression, that their personality is still intact. It just may be weighted down because of the impression,
a little tweaked,
depression,
tweaked, if you will,
kind of like maybe like an anchor on your personality, if that makes sense.
Something maybe like a trauma that you kind of blocked out of your psyche.
Not even necessarily that. For just say that you just feel depressed or you feel anxious, and those could come from environmental factors. They could come from other responsibilities, job, stress. Those things can happen, but personality disorders, they don't just pop up.
There's no triggers.
There's no trigger for that. It's something that develops over time. And that's why this diagnosis is so hard to treat, because it's an embedded personality trait. It's embedded into how you interact, how you see things, how you evaluate things, how your mind interprets things. So with personality disorders, it's kind of this locked in, very, very difficult to change, even in therapy.
Interesting. So if Alice from the Brady Bunch just all of a sudden came out of my soul.
Well, see, no, because it wouldn't be sudden. Because personality disorders kind of, again, it's not like they just hit. They develop over time. It's kind of like.
But she's always been there.
Yeah, but you would have seen it well before now.
Okay.
It would have affected you well before now.
Fair enough. Okay.
So I'll give you a couple of examples. So I have a couple of clients. One is an adult male, probably in his 30s, very, very passive. Like I can't handle things. I just don't want to. And he said since childhood, he would have these episodes where he got so overwhelmed, he would just have these emotional breakdowns. Since grade school. And this continued on. His parents, of course, as a kid, well, not of course, I shouldn't say that, because some parents don't do what they're supposed to do. Of course, that just happens.
Go on.
But he was taken to therapy as a child. He saw a therapist when he was a teenager, but during time, so long story short, he developed this way of interacting with the world that we call what's called an avoidant personality disorder.
Avoidant.
And we'll get into specifics as far as categories of these disorders when we get a little further on. But for him, it is overwhelming for him to make a phone call to make an appointment, or to even be on time for something, or to be assertive with someone. It just can't happen. His personality it's just overwhelming for him. And the emotions are so strong that even though he in his mind, he says, I want to do these things, and I just can't do it.
And a lot of people will call that they don't deal well with confrontation.
Correct. Or they call it laziness, or they call it somebody who's just uninterested, or flippant, whatever terms you want to use.
Interesting.
But it's not by choice. And that's the hard thing, because a lot of times with personality disorders, people will interact with them and say, oh, that guy's just an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, no, he just can't handle interaction. So, and we're going to get into specifics as we go.
That's kind of an autistic trait as well.
It's funny you say that, Matt, because it can fall into that. Many autistic people have personality disorders because of their inability to interpret
the world around
correctly.
them. Yeah.
I shouldn't say correctly, typically the world around them and things that happen and navigating challenges. That's very hard for people. Well, in this gentleman's case, the avoidant personality disorder is really hard.
That's really intriguing. Yes.
So you may or may not know somebody that has a personality disorder. I'm going to say a majority of us out there have met someone who has it. You may not know you have, but it is common enough that you know somebody who has one.
So the person that has this, do they even know that they have
Oftentimes they do not.
Because they're avoiding it.
Right. And they just think their way is the way that it's supposed to be. Which again, with mental illness, that's unfortunately, that's a lot of the challenge that we face, is that people just feel like this is the way it's supposed to be. This is what life is. And they don't realize there's an option to be better.
My way or the highway.
Yes. Yeah. So here's the big thing. There are a lot of different types of personality disorders, and we're just going to hit on these and kind of explain, and they're grouped in different groups, and there's reasons why, and I'll get into that too. So we're going to start, first of all, actually, we're going to do this. We're going to come back.
Okay.
Because this is a lot of info, and we always split up our episodes, which we do.
Listen, this was the intro to what we're going to talk about. Yes.
And I've explained the basics of it. So we're going to get into specifics on the next episode as we roll along here. If those of you on Facebook Live, stay where you're at. We're going to do another episode. Those of you on a platform somewhere, either skip ahead to the next episode or it'll drop next Tuesday or Thursday.
They know where that button is at.
Yep.
Yes.
And just look for it. It will be out. So hang in there, folks. We're going to be right back if you're on Facebook Live, and we're going to get into specifics on the groupings and specific personality disorders and why these are so difficult to treat.
And there's a few here. So
there's a few. Stay with us. This could be a 3-parter. We don't know. We never know. We never know on this show. It's crazy.
It's amazing, actually.
Great heavens. What kind of radio show is this?
So I'm curious to know, who am I going to adopt this week?
Yes, I'm going to tell you who you're going to adopt. The first dog that Matt is going to adopt and take home is Presley.
Who is it?
Presley.
Presley, as in Elvis?
Presley was born in 2015. So this is a senior dog.
It's a 9-year-old puppy.
It is a 9-year-old dog. It's a Shih Tzu, female, 20 pounds.
Almost
dog
10.
Friendly, yes. Cat friendly, yes. Kids friendly, yes.
See, this is the first dog that's cat friendly.
I know. I noticed that when I looked this one up, that he's cat friendly. He's probably friendly to everyone, because when you see this picture, you know he'll be friendly to everyone.
All right,
here's Presley.
Oh, absolutely. Come on.
Look at that tongue.
Presley's a cutie. Presley's a little cutie. Look at him.
So Presley is at DetroitDogRescue.com/adopt. He is a senior dog. Here's the thing. He needs a home. And I know some people are a little reluctant to take on a senior dog because they think they're stuck in their ways or whatever, but he just wants to be loved.
Yeah.
Give him some love for the last years of his life and enjoy his company.
So do you know what happens when you breed a Shih Tzu with a bulldog?
Yeah, you get a bullshit.
Yeah, you get a bullshit.
You get a bullshit, yes.
He's adorable.
Oh, good for you.
And he's cat friendly. I love that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Presley, he needs a home. DetroitDogRescue.com. Check him out now. Alrighty, folks. Change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time. What is going on, my friends? This is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist. We're back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast. We'll be there in a little bit.
Hey, free stuff.
You know what? I totally messed up my lines because I was thinking we were right into the show, but it's fine. We're ready. We're ready to go.
How many cocktails you got there?
I just won.
Oh,
that's the same. Well, no, this is my second one.
All right,
because,
there you go.
well, I dumped half the one out I had, so we're all good.
We got free stuff.
But hang in there, folks. We got free stuff coming up. We're going to talk about personality disorders. We'll be right back.
This sounds like something for the authorities in Detroit.
Well, joke's on you. I'm living to 102 and then dying, like the city of Detroit.
Guys like this antique over here out of Detroit.
Spawned in the hellfires of Motown. Take him to Detroit.
No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
Stationed in Drambuie. It's worse than Detroit.
We did not have, as a unit, the confidence that we felt like we needed to beat Detroit.
Let's go to Detroit. Now you're talking, brother.
I don't think so. He plays for Detroit now.
Do they have many farms in Detroit?
Detroit. It's in Michigan.
I go to school. I know where Detroit is.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, my friends? It is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist, and we're back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast.
Back on track.
That is Matt Fox, the other voice you hear.
Yes, it is.
We're here in the podcast Your Voice, Southfield Studios, the palatial Southfield Studios.
It's been very palatial.
We're
today.
hanging out, doing a podcast, having a cocktail, and enjoying life.
And we're talking about multiple personality disorders?
No, not multiple personality disorders, just personality disorders.
Okay.
So we're going to get into the
reel me back in.
No, that's okay. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of coming up. Let me first tell you where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Check that out. Grad night and prom night parties are fast approaching, and I'm already booking up really quickly. So if you're interested, if you're on a family committee or a parent committee for your high school, go to my website and you can get a quote and book your night within a few minutes, as long as I'm available, because again, schedule's filling up. So get in there quick, because if you want your date, it may be taken, but take a look and we'll help you out. My media links, social media links, Facebook and YouTube are both Motor City Hypnotist. Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok are all Motor City Hypno, HYPNO. And as we've done every episode, going back to number one, text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510 for your free hypnosis guide. It's a PDF that I've written. It's a couple of pages. It's not too in-depth, but it does give you an overview about hypnosis, what it is, what it's not. It dispels some myths and misconceptions. Just text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510, and you will receive that within a few minutes. Also, you will receive a Google link to leave a review. You can leave a review of the podcast, or if you've seen my show, you can leave a review of that. Or if you've seen me in person for hypnosis, you can make a review for that. Hey. It's all in one review, so it's all good. All righty. That's it, Matt. It's time.
That's how winning is done.
All righty.
Okay, so who's winning this week?
Well, it's a dog story, which we love. We love dog stories.
I'm already going to adopt a Shih Tzu, for God's sakes.
An adorable dog was adopted by a kind-hearted pub manager after the pooch's owner died in a car crash.
What's the pooch's name?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Oh, I'll tell you in a minute. It's in the story.
Okay, good. It's a pub owner, so it should be good.
The 2-year-old Shih Tzu named Rex.
Another freaking Shih Tzu I have to adopt.
Yes,
all right?
Dashed into the busy bar after surviving the tragic car accident.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he driving?
I don't know. It's crazy.
No! No! Don't shut me up!
I don't know if he could drive.
He had a brain like a chicken.
The way this is written, I'm just thinking.
Maybe. The 2-year-old Shih Tzu, oh, I read that. Regulars at the Leaping Wolf in Wolverhampton, England.
Okay.
Were startled when the lost pooch ran into the pub during a football match. Manager Dan Morris caught the runaway pup and took him to the veterinarian to see if he was okay and inquire about where he could have come from. But Dan was shocked to learn that Rex's owner had passed away in the car accident.
Man.
That's how the frisky pup came to be a new regular at the pub and a real hit with the locals. It was last year's Liverpool versus Wolves match. It was crammed inside and outside the bar, said the 33-year-old barkeep. Everyone said there's a dog running around and we had no idea where he came from. He's been great. All the customers love him and they even buy him presents. He loves attention. He loves treats. He's so spoiled. If we have a takeaway, he has a takeaway. If we have roast dinner, he has a roast dinner. When we first took him, there was a period where it was difficult. When you're trying to run a business and a new dog is running around the place, it can be tough. But now he just likes to sit down and chill. It's like he's found his new home. He's well trained and we're so thrilled to have him with us. He also now acts like a bouncer for the Leaping Wolf with his uncanny ability to sniff out troublemakers.
Oh my gosh. So what, you haven't got to the dog's name yet. What's
Rex.
the shit? Rex.
It was in the second sentence.
I missed Rex. All right.
Oh, great Odin's raven.
He's been known to bark at visitors who tend to be the ones that end up causing trouble in the pub. He sits and waits for people to come in and inspects them. We don't know how he knows which guests are up to no good, but he's usually right, Dan told SWNS News.
You know how he does it? He sniffs them out.
Oh, great Odin's raven.
What in blazes are you talking about?
He's a really well-behaved dog, but I think he needs a girlfriend.
Sexy time.
Have you heard? I'm sorry.
I got to give you a picture of Rex. Here's a picture of Rex in the bar.
Right. So Rex the Shih Tzu.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you heard about the puppy in New Orleans that was on the run? He like escaped twice.
No, I've not heard that.
So I'm going to cross pollinate here real quick.
Yes, please.
The dog's name in New Orleans. It was just on CBS 60 minutes,
right.
Whatever. Scrim. He got out and he was on the run in New Orleans.
Like a person owned this dog?
Like he was to be adopted.
Oh, he got away from a shelter.
He got away from a shelter twice, and he was on the run twice. So Rex and Scrim should go bowling sometime.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like you said, Rex needs a girlfriend.
He does.
So there you go.
So here's Rex. Those of you on Facebook Live, or if you want to come back to my Facebook page, Motor City Hypnotist, you can watch this episode and see a picture of Rex sitting at the bar with a beer.
Yeah. See,
it's perfect.
And that is
perfect.
That is a very tall beer of something.
That is.
What beer is he drinking? What glass?
That's a good question.
Hold on. I'll tell you. He's drinking a, oh, geez. It doesn't say, oh, it's a Foster's.
Oh, there you go.
So Rex is drinking a Foster's.
Yeah, Rex is drinking at the bar with the Fosters. He doesn't need a home because he's got a home. He's in the pub.
Well, he's a foster dog.
Yeah, there you go.
You're welcome.
Oh, great Odin's raven.
Definitely our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
Sometimes the stars just align.
It is. They do. Sometimes it does.
So, back to it.
I'm sorry Rex's owner passed away in the car.
That is
accident.
sad. But he's got a great place now. The bar owner loves him. He's got a great home. He sees all kinds of people every day.
That's what you get for letting Rex drive.
Yeah.
All right?
He's fantastic, I wonder if he drinks water.
No, you've had your limit today. You drink water.
Oh. All right, folks. So we're talking about today is part 2 of personality disorders. So if you listen to part 1, jump back an episode, catch up, or just listen to this one and go back to that one.
And stay along.
But the whole gist of the first one was an introduction to personality disorders and how they develop since childhood, which makes them very difficult to treat. Unlike just, and I don't say this in a demeaning way, but unlike simple depression or anxiety or PTSD,
right,
which are caused typically by a lot of times by circumstances, sometimes with a chemical imbalance, but a personality disorder starts in childhood and it develops into adulthood.
Do you say it manifests in childhood?
Probably. It could manifest in childhood as far as like emotional breakdowns or behavioral issues.
Okay.
That's possible. Yes. So we talked about how, because it's developed since an early age, it's very hard to address in therapy. We can do it. And I have seen many people over the years with personality disorders who have made progress. It's just very difficult because these behaviors and these thinking patterns are so ingrained that it's hard to get them changed.
Fair.
So let's talk about personality disorders specifically. Now, these are grouped into different categories, and they're we pull our diagnoses from the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual.
Number 5?
Number 5. That's what we're on right now. And they group them into different groups as far as personality disorders. Group A, Group B, and Group C.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through Group A first. Group A are kind of described as a pretty consistent dysfunctional pattern of thinking and behavior. It kind of reflects suspicion or lack of interest in other people. So the first one is the paranoid personality disorder.
Okay.
And this is lacks trust and is suspicious of others and the reasons for their actions, believes others are trying to do them harm with no reason to feel this way, doubts the loyalty of others, is not willing to trust, hesitates to confide in others for fear that others will use that information against them, takes innocent remarks or situations as personal insults or attacks.
They take it personally. Yep.
Okay. Becomes angry or hostile to what are believed to be slights or insults.
They overreact.
Has a habit of holding grudges. I think I know a person like this.
Hold grudges as in they'll bring something up from like 15
Could
years
be.
ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just held on to it.
And with paranoid personality, the last symptom is often suspects a spouse or sexual partner is unfaithful with no reason to feel why.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I'm just going to PTSD over here on the side of the table.
Absolutely. The next one in Group A is schizoid personality disorder.
Go on.
This one, and so there's a lot of overlap with a lot of these. So this may sound repetitive, but it's not. They're their own distinct, but there is some overlap as far as symptoms go.
Okay.
So a schizoid personality disorder appears to be cold or not interested in others, almost always chooses to be alone, limits how they express their emotions, cannot take pleasure in most activities, cannot pick up social cues, has little or no interest in having sex with another person.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty isolated. It's like, nothing else beyond what's right here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's right there.
The other one in Group A is schizotypal, which is a little bit different from schizoid, but schizotypal.
How is typal spelled?
TYPAL.
Okay.
Yep. Has unusual thinking, beliefs, speech, or behavior. Now that's pretty general. Feels or thinks strange things, such as hearing a voice whisper their name.
Or just whisper in general, just whisper their name.
Could be.
Okay.
Has flat emotions or emotional responses that are socially unusual.
Depending on the
laughing at a funeral. Crying at a birthday party. I mean, just they don't fit the situation they're in.
Okay. All right.
Has social anxiety, including not being comfortable making close connections with others. Responds to others in ways that are not proper, shows suspicion or lack of interest. This is the big one. Has magical thinking.
Okay.
The belief that their thoughts can affect other people or events.
Like they look at them, they think something, and they're going to feel the same way?
No. They think that their thoughts can affect other people.
Oh.
They can control them or influence them.
So they have
way.
like ESP of some sort.
Yes, that would be a simple way to put it. Yeah,
okay.
Sure. Believes that some casual incidents have hidden messages. So schizotypal is a little bit different from the other two in this category because there's some psychosis in this one.
So the number 33.
Yeah. Could mean
something
to or them. Nothing
or not
or could. Yeah. The next grouping is group B.
Okay.
And that includes some of the ones that we are probably more familiar with.
Okay.
And again, these are ones that come up quite often. Borderline personality.
Okay.
Borderline has strong fear of being alone or abandoned, ongoing feelings of emptiness, sees themselves as being unstable or weak. See, relationships are not stable.
That the last comment that you just said there, what?
Sees himself as being unstable or weak.
No, was that the one? Yes. There was another sentence that you said.
Has ongoing feelings of emptiness.
Before that.
Has a strong fear of being alone or abandoned.
That's the one.
Yeah. 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 They feel like they're just going to be alone.
Yeah.
Has up and down moods, often due to stress when interacting with others, threatens self-harm or behaves in a way that could lead to suicide.
Yep.
Is often very angry, shows impulsive and risky behavior such as having unsafe sex, gambling, or binge eating, has stress-related paranoia that comes and goes. And that's borderline. We move into histrionic. Now, I know I'm glossing over these pretty quickly because there's so many of them, but I just want to give you guys, and I think we have in some points in the past on the podcast hit these individually, but we may revisit those in coming episodes just to focus on each one individually.
Okay, and in regards to that, are there people that we know of in history that have these types of disorders?
I could probably bring up some good examples that are current, but
I would say
I don't want to alienate some people.
No, and I'm with you.
That's a good question. Let me. I don't want to guess, so let me look into that. We may come back to that.
I'm going back to World War I.
Right, exactly. I mean, it could be famous people.
Yeah.
Van Gogh or whoever.
Sure.
Van Gogh's cut off his own ear, so. I mean, there had to be some mental illness.
He just wasn't
somewhere.
He wasn't gonna listen to anybody anyway. So
no, don't shut me up.
The next one is histrionic personality disorder.
Because the last one was
borderline.
Okay, that was just I thought you said there was another one in between that. But,
nope.
Okay.
Borderline. Now we're on histrionic.
Okay.
Simply put, I can say these are the attention seekers in your life.
Okay.
Always seeks attention, overly emotional or dramatic, speaks dramatically with strong opinions, but has few facts or details to back it up.
Okay.
Is easily led by others, has shallow emotions that change quickly, is very concerned with physical appearance, thinks relationships with others are closer than they are.
I wonder what executive order is going to get signed next.
Here's the thing. They could fit in all of these somewhere, somehow or another. The two other ones in this group, and again, these are ones we know about. We've seen them. Narcissistic personality disorder. They believe they're special and more important than other people.
Okay.
They have fantasies about power, success, and being attractive. They don't understand the needs and feelings of other people. They expect constant praise and they want to be admired. They feel superior and they brag about it. Expects favors and advantages without a good reason. Takes advantage of other people. Is jealous of others or believes they are jealous of him or them.
Man.
That one.
Wow. I'm going to sign this order right now.
And the last in this group is antisocial personality disorder. Again, this is one that's commonly heard and we know about. Has little, if any, concern for the needs or feelings of other people.
Okay.
Often lies, steals, or uses false names or cons people. Has repeated run-ins with the law, violates the rights of other people, is aggressive and often violent, has little or any concern for personal safety or safety of others, impulsivity, recklessness, has little, if any, regret for how their behaviors affect other people.
Sounds like an aggressive bank robber.
Yeah. And just somebody who has no concept of empathy, no concern or no thought about other people and how they feel.
Man, you said there was a lot of crossover.
Yes.
And there is a lot of crossover, and a lot of folks fit into these categories multiple times. So
yes.
To diagnose, it's got to be very, very pinpoint.
For personality disorders, it is very, very difficult to kind of put a diagnosis to that, because you could meet all the criteria in one and all the criteria in another.
Sure.
And then, but you can have in mental health, you can have what's called dual diagnosis, just like you can in medicine. You know, you could have multiple personality disorders together, which would be, that'd be a big challenge.
It's tough.
That'd be crazy. It's a lot.
Oh, great Odin's Raven.
Okay, group C. This is the third group.
Okay, go on.
Avoidant personality disorder,
which we started talking about originally. Yes,
we did talk about that earlier. Very sensitive to criticism or rejection.
What are you talking about?
Does not feel good enough, important, or attractive.
Am I not dressed appropriately for you?
Does not take part in activities that include contact with others.
Okay, don't touch me.
Is isolated. Does not try new activities and does not like meeting new people. Is extremely withdrawn in social settings and in dealing with others. Fears disapproval, embarrassment, or being made fun of.
They fear that.
Yes, they fear that. And that's the avoidant personality. The next one is the dependent personality disorder.
All right, I'm interested in learning this one.
Relies on others too much and feels the need to be taken care of.
Relies too much on other people? Okay.
Is submissive or clingy.
Interesting.
Fears having to take care of self if left alone. So they fear being alone because they don't want to have to take care of themselves. Lacks confidence in their abilities. Needs a lot of advice and comforting from others to make even very small decisions.
Do I buy milk or no?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a great example of just a simple thing.
They send a text.
They would struggle with.
They send a text.
Right.
Should I buy milk? Well, do you need it or not?
Finds it hard to start or do projects due to lack of self-confidence.
Okay.
They find it hard to disagree with others, feeling they'll be rejected.
Based on?
They just go along because they don't want to be rejected. They're like, yes, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Even though it might be totally contrary to what they believe.
Sure.
Endures poor treatment or abuse even when other options are available. Again, with this one, a lot of times this is, and it could be a battered spouse either way, men or women.
Yep.
But they just continue to take it.
There are plenty of folks out there that will not treat you as such. Go on.
No, I know. Yep. Has an urgent need to start a new relationship as soon as one ends.
Okay.
They don't want to be alone.
Interesting.
And the last one on this, on the group C, is obsessive compulsive personality disorder. Again, OCD. We've heard it. We've seen movies. I don't know if a lot of them have.
Could you clean up the side of your table over there? Thank you.
There we go. Now it's lined up. Again, we know what this is. Focuses too much on details, orderliness, rules, thinks everything has to be perfect and gets upset when it's not. Cannot finish a project because reaching perfection is not possible.
Right.
Needs to be in control. Cannot assign tasks to others. They cannot delegate because they don't trust other people to do it the way they would do it.
It does take a lot. Yes,
it does. And that's one I can understand a little bit. Ignores friends and enjoyable activities because too much focus on work or a project. So they see they don't have fun time.
Right.
Cannot throw away broken or worthless objects.
Oh, that's a big one.
Is rigid and stubborn, is not flexible about morality, ethics, or values. So I will say one thing with OCD, their morals are locked in. There's nothing that's going to sway that wherever it lands on the spectrum.
Kind of like Catholicism.
Yeah. Holds very tight control over budgeting and spending money. So so here's the thing. And it's noted, and I want to bring this up. Obsessive compulsive disorder is a little bit different from obsessive compulsive personality.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for the clarification. Yes.
Because the personality disorders develop during childhood all the way up into adulthood. Obsessive compulsive disorder is an anxiety disorder and can happen at any time during your life.
Sure.
So there again, symptoms might overlap, but the beginning of it is different.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does.
So here's the thing. Most of the time, people with personality disorders don't, I'm not going to say they don't acknowledge it. They might know that something's wrong. They might know that their life is not where it wants to be or where they want it to be, but they don't, many times they can't see the faults in themselves, that the fault is their own thinking. Their anger and their frustration is projected outward, that this person wronged me. This isn't the way things should work.
Mm-hmm.
I quit this job because they asked me to do things. It really, and really all of these personality disorders affect daily living, because how you interact with others, that's what the world is made of.
So what I'm hearing you saying is that everybody in the world has some type of personality disorder.
They could have some symptoms of a personality disorder.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Not necessarily have that full-blown
disorder. Everyone's got symptoms of.
Well, sure. We could lean towards certain ways, but we know, like with OCD, lining things up, as long as it doesn't affect anything, that's totally cool.
Sure.
It's what you prefer. However, if it affects you from, for example, I had a client who had OCD years ago. This is one of the examples I bring up quite often. He was a hand washer, but it was not because of germs. For him, it was the structure and the process that he had to get right.
Like, okay, so As Good as It Gets, the character that Jack Nicholson,
right?
Okay.
Yes.
Who was on the SNL 50th
Right.
anniversary last night.
Absolutely.
He made a cameo. Yes.
Yes.
But yes, that character in As Good as It Gets, there was a process that he did.
Right.
He
had to do it that way.
He had going to bed. He had to put his hands down at a specific point.
Yep.
And he had to stay straight.
Yep.
It was the portrayal was amazing.
So with my hand washing guy, he knew his hands were clean, but with him, if he put the soap down wrong, he would have to start over. It was the process that he was. It wasn't about germs. It wasn't about cleanliness. It wasn't about being clean. It was the process that he couldn't get right in his head.
Gosh.
And if it wasn't right, he had to start over.
Wow.
And he would. So my point on that is, a lot of times he would be late for work or miss work altogether. And for him, it was like, well, no, I have to do this. He wasn't seeing. I mean, he knew it was affecting him negatively, but it didn't stop the compulsion.
That movie, As Good, I'm going to go back to it. As Good as It Gets.
Yep.
Him locking the door a specific way, the way the locks had to be locked.
Yep.
The way he did wash his hands. The water was super hot, and it was super hot every single time.
Yep.
And he had to start over.
Yes.
Hot.
Yes.
That portrayal is guaranteed exactly what it is.
It is a good portrayal, and I do that. They did kind of. They get it with that movie. They did.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Correct.
So here's the thing. If you feel like, and I might be talking to family members or friends of people who suffer from personality disorders, because many times people with personality disorders are resistant to treatment because they don't think anything's wrong.
So let me ask this question. You have a person in your office and they have a spouse who is like that. How is this individual, how are you helping them to deal with their spouse or partner or whoever they're with?
Honestly, if I'm dealing with a partner of somebody who has something, one of these, I will be honest with them and tell them, listen, if you're here to change that other person, that's never going to work.
Thank you.
That is just not going to happen.
Okay.
So what we need to do is work on you and get you to a point where you are strong enough to say, I want to be out of this relationship.
Okay.
Or I want to stay with these conditions and setting boundaries.
Do you invite that other party into the conversation?
Yes, oftentimes that will happen.
And what happens when you do invite them and then...
Well, but that
I know it's a tough question to answer.
It's tough because there have been so many over the years. Some people respond and some people are happy, but most of the time when here's the thing, I've dealt with a lot of couples over the years, and most of the time, majority of the time, and I don't want to burst people's bubbles or pop their bubbles or whatever, but
do it.
A lot of times when couples come in together, I know who the initiator is in the session. I can see it.
Yeah.
I don't even need to hear him talk. I can tell by body language.
Love that.
I know who's the one who wanted to be here and who's the one who didn't. And I can see it.
But beyond that, can you tell who has the compulsive
well, if they come in together,
symptoms,
when they come in, if a couple comes in together, then I can kind of get that through a couple of sessions.
Okay.
Yes. Right. Yes. But here's the thing with personality disorders. Most of the time they don't seek therapy. I shouldn't say most of the time. There's a large portion that don't seek therapy because they don't think there's anything wrong, because they think this is the way it should be. If it's not causing distress in your life, it's just easier to let it go and just think that this is the way it's supposed to be.
So can I ask you a very naive question?
Yeah.
What's the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist?
Psychiatrist is a medical doctor. They have their MD. They're licensed to practice medicine. They could go into they don't often choose to, but they could go into a hospital or they could practice as a pediatrician or a family doctor.
Okay.
A psychologist is strictly trained in mental health.
Okay.
They don't have a medical degree. So if you see a psychologist and they're Dr. Wright, let's say, it's because they have a PhD, not an MD.
Okay.
So a psychiatrist is the only trained medical doctor in mental health.
But both can prescribe medications?
No. Psychologists cannot prescribe
That's
medication.
what I was getting to.
Nope. Psychologists can only do therapy. Even if they're a doctor, they're not a medical doctor, so they cannot prescribe.
I just wanted to understand who can,
because
and who can't.
This is confusing to people, and I'm glad you brought that up, Matt, because this is a sidebar from what we were talking about, but a lot of people don't know. They see all these initials at the end of people's names. They have no idea what they mean. What is LPC? What is LMSW? What is MD HIP? What is PhD / LC? I mean, there's so many. The general population doesn't know this, and it just confuses them.
Okay.
But yes, a psychiatrist is a medical doctor who can prescribe medication. A psychologist is a mental health doctor who cannot prescribe medication.
So someone with a disorder, who would they see?
They should see a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Because it's a mental health disorder.
Okay. I just want to make that just that differentiation clear.
So here's the thing. Personality disorders, they can disrupt your life and they definitely disrupt the lives of people around you. If you're in a family or a marriage or have kids, they can lead to social isolation, suicidal thoughts. A lot of bad things come from personality disorders. So the big thing is just to evaluate. Has somebody told you this, or do you feel like something's not right? And if you have a family member or a friend who has a personality disorder, it might be worth having a conversation. Now, it may or may not go well. That it doesn't matter. The point is you have to take care of yourself. So many times it takes a crisis to get somebody into therapy, which is kind of, honestly, I can say that for most of the population. Most of the couples I see are on the verge of divorce by the time they get to my office.
Right, because they're in crisis at that point.
Yeah, and instead of doing therapy when it was just 20% bad, they waited till it got 90% bad and said, oh, we need to do this. And it's too late then.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're already made up their minds at that point.
Plus, it's already, most of the damage has been done.
Right. There's no going back.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes, unfortunately. All righty, folks. That is our episode on personality disorders.
Wow.
So if you have any further questions, those of you, just go to the Facebook page. You can message me. You can email me. You can go to my website and send a direct message. If you have any questions or concerns, or you want to seek therapy for a personality disorder, just hit me up. Again, any of those sources, email, well, you're not my email, but social media, my website, and you can call the phone number as well.
Yeah. What's that phone number?
Of those things
What's the phone number again?
It's 313-800-8510.
Thank you.
And that will, you'll just to be upfront, you'll probably get a voice message, but you can leave a message and I will get back to you ASAP.
Thank you.
All righty. Before we leave.
Oh, who are we going to adopt this time, David?
Miri.
Miri
is a mixed breed, was born December of 2024.
Oh.
She's only a month old.
Holy crap. Wait, what?
2 months old.
2-month-old puppy and is already up for adoption?
Yes.
Were they born in the shelter?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's a female.
Okay.
She'll be about 40 to 50 pounds. Dog friendly, yes. Cat friendly, unknown. Kid friendly, yes.
Okay.
Activity level, medium high. Mary, take a look at this.
Oh, come on.
Look at that face.
Mixed breed. She looks like a lab.
She does look like a lab with something mixed in. I can't quite tell, but
let's see here. Looking at the
maybe
paws.
golden.
Little golden. Yeah, golden lab is
just
in
the
there.
golden I see with the eyes.
In the ears, I kind of, oh my goodness.
The ears kind of look more, I don't know.
They kind of look, I can't even tell.
Yeah, it's fine.
But she's beautiful.
Yeah.
She is a beautiful looking little puppy.
Yep.
Wow.
So Miri is at DetroitDogRescue.com/adopt. She wants a home. Look at that. Take her home.
2 months
Cuddle
old.
with her. She's 2 months old. She probably potty trained, maybe. I don't know. But
if not, she's young. She'll learn.
Yes, absolutely. And look at that face. Who could say no to that?
I can't. I just can't.
There you go.
Why do you do this to me, David?
I know. Miri, DetroitDogRescue.com/adopt. All righty, folks. That is our show. Join us next week, Monday night. Join us on Facebook Live on Motor City Hypnotist Facebook page. We will record live so you can kind of join in and be a part of the conversation.
Please.
I'm hoping next week we're going to have, let me tease this, but one of my therapists I work with, Terica, she's a certified sex therapist. And she is going to be in next week.
Sorry.
That's our plan, that she'll be in next week for an in-person interview and show.
All right.
Sexy time.
Yeah.
All right.
In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time.